Hi Army, on this unforgettable night in El Paso, something truly electric happened. An emotional, playful, and completely unexpected moment that sent fans into a frenzy and left the internet buzzing non-stop. The spotlight was already blazing, the crowd roaring with excitement, and the energy inside the venue was nothing short of explosive. As the music faded for a brief pause, all eyes turned to the stage where Jimin stepped forward, his presence alone enough to make thousands of hearts race at once. Dressed effortlessly stylish, glowing under the stage lights, he carried an aura that felt both powerful and intimate, as if he was speaking to each fan individually. But no one was prepared for what came next. With a soft smile that slowly turned playful, Jimin leaned closer to the microphone. The crowd grew quieter, anticipation building in waves. And then in a tone filled with charm and bold confidence, he delivered the words that would echo across social media within minutes. Date me. For a split second, time seemed to stop. And then the arena erupted. Screams, cheers, and disbelief filled the air as Army struggled to process what they had just heard. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Tone, the timing, the eye contact. It felt real, personal, and almost teasing in a way that only Jimin can deliver. Fans were seen jumping, crying, laughing, some even frozen in shock. It was one of those rare moments where reality feels like a dream. But the story doesn't end there. Standing just a few steps away was Jungkook, and his reaction quickly became just as iconic as Jimin's words. As the crowd exploded, Jungkook turned toward Jimin with a look that said everything without a single word. Surprise, amusement, disbelief. It all played across his face in seconds. He laughed, shook his head slightly, and for a moment looked completely speechless. Fans instantly picked up on this interaction. Cameras zoomed in, capturing Jungkook's reaction from multiple angles, and within minutes, clips of the moment began spreading across platforms like wildfire. Comments poured in. Jungkook is all of us right now. He really said date me like that. Jimin knows exactly what he's doing. The chemistry between the two members added another layer to the moment. It wasn't just a line, it became a shared experience between Jimin, Jungkook, and Army. As the noise slowly settled, Jimin stepped back with a shy laugh, almost as if realizing the impact of what he had just done. But there was also a spark in his eyes, a hint that maybe, just maybe, it was all part of the plan, and Army loved every second of it. Moments like this are why BTS concerts are more than just performances. They're unpredictable, emotional, and deeply interactive. The connection between the members and their fans goes beyond music. It's built on trust, humor, and genuine affection. In El Paso, that connection reached a new level. Fans didn't just watch a concert, they lived a memory they'll never forget. And now the moment continues to grow. Across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, fans are recreating Jimin's line, reacting to Jungkook's expression, and sharing their own interpretations of what happened. Some call it the most iconic fan interaction of the year, while others say it's pure Jimin energy. Here's the real question. Was it just a playful joke, or was it Jimin fully embracing the bond he shares with Army in the most unforgettable way possible? Whatever the answer may be, one thing is certain: that night in El Paso will go down as one of the most talked about BTS moments in recent memory. And now we want to hear from you, Army. What did you feel when Jimin said date me? Did Jungkook's reaction make it even better? And if you were there in that moment, would you have survived it? Let us know in the comments. Share this with fellow Army and stay tuned. Because if this is what happens during one night in El Paso, who knows what surprises BTS has next? This is more than a concert, this is history in the making. As the cheers continued to echo across the venue in El Paso, Jimin took a step back, covering his face briefly with his hand, almost as if he was overwhelmed by the response he had just created. But if you look closely, there was a playful glint in his eyes. He knew exactly what he had done, and Army knew it too. The camera screens zoomed in, capturing every detail. His soft laugh, the way he shifted his posture, and how he glanced toward Jungkook again as if waiting for a reaction. And Jungkook didn't disappoint. Still smiling in disbelief, Jungkook stepped forward slightly, shaking his head while looking out at the crowd. The audience immediately picked up on this, their screams rising once more as they anticipated what he might say next. But instead of responding verbally right away, Jungkook simply laughed, a genuine, uncontrollable laugh that felt just as loud as the fans themselves. That silence spoke volumes. It was the kind of moment that didn't need a script. It was raw, spontaneous, and completely real. Then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more intense, Jimin leaned toward the microphone again. This time the crowd reacted instantly, before he even spoke. A wave of anticipation surged through the arena. Fans were already screaming, already reacting, already bracing themselves for whatever he might say next. And instead of repeating himself, Jimin tilted his head slightly and gave a teasing smile. The kind that says everything without saying anything. Army lost it all over again. What made this moment even more powerful wasn't just the words, it was the interaction. The way Jimin played with the crowd, the way Jungkook reacted naturally, and the way fans became part of the performance itself. This wasn't just a stage, it became a conversation. Meanwhile, behind them, other members could be seen reacting too, smiling, laughing, and watching the scene unfold like everyone else. But the spotlight remained firmly on Jimin and Jungkook, whose dynamic had now turned into one of the most talked about highlights of the night. Fans in the front rows were visibly emotional. Some were shouting back responses, others reaching out toward the stage, hoping to somehow be part of the moment. Phones were raised everywhere, capturing every second because deep down everyone knew this was something special. And it didn't take long for the online world to catch up. Within minutes, clips of Jimin, Date Me moment and Jungkook's priceless reaction began circulating rapidly. Fan accounts started posting edits, slow-motion replays, and reaction compilations. Hashtags began trending almost instantly as army from all over the world joined the conversation. El Paso will never be the same. Jimin really said that with his whole chest. Jungkook's reaction is sending me. The internet wasn't just reacting, it was exploding. But back on stage, the energy hadn't slowed down. Jungkook finally leaned into his mic, still smiling. Still clearly amused. He glanced once more at Jimin, then out at the crowd, as if deciding whether to say something or just let the moment live on its own. And in true Jungkook fashion, he chose simplicity, a soft chuckle, a shake of the head, and a look that said, "I can't believe this just happened." That was enough, because sometimes the most powerful reactions are the ones that aren't forced. Jimin, now fully embracing the atmosphere, walked across the stage, waving at fans and feeding off their energy. Every move he made triggered another wave of cheers. Every glance toward the audience felt intentional, like he was connecting with thousands of people at once. And that's what makes moments like this unforgettable. It's not just about performance, it's about presence. It's about artists who know how to turn a single sentence into a shared memory for millions. An army, they gave that energy right back. Chants filled the air. Lights from lightsticks flickered like stars in the darkness. The connection between stage and audience became almost tangible, something you could feel even through a screen. So now let's talk about you. If you were standing there in El Paso hearing Jimin say "Date Me" in that exact tone, what would your reaction be? Would you scream? Would you freeze? Or would you just laugh like Jungkook? Drop your thoughts, share your reactions, and tell us, was this the most iconic Jimin moment? Honestly, this might be one for the history books. As the cheers gradually settled into a steady roar, Jimin paced slowly across the stage, letting the energy breathe. He didn't rush, he didn't need to. Every second felt intentional, like he was stretching the moment just enough to let it sink deeper into everyone's memory. He paused near the edge of the stage, looking out over the sea of lights, thousands of glowing lightsticks moving in sync like waves. For a brief moment, everything felt calm again, and then he spoke, not loudly, not dramatically, but softly enough that fans leaned in, both physically and emotionally. "I'm serious, you know." The reaction, immediate chaos. The crowd erupted again, louder than before, as if the previous moment had just been a warm-up. Some fans clutched their hearts, others screamed his name, and a few could only stand there in disbelief, trying to process what felt like a once-in-a-lifetime interaction. Jimin laughed again, clearly enjoying the reaction, but also slightly overwhelmed by it. He turned away for a second, covering his mouth, then looked back at the audience with that same playful confidence. And once again, all eyes shifted to Jungkook. This time, Jungkook couldn't hold back. He stepped closer, raising an eyebrow as he looked at Jimin, then at the crowd, as if silently asking, "Are you all hearing this too?" The audience responded instantly with even louder screams, encouraging him to react. Finally, Jungkook leaned toward his microphone. "You're going to cause trouble tonight," he said with a laugh. The crowd exploded. It was the perfect response, lighthearted, teasing, and completely in sync with the energy of the moment. Fans loved it, instantly quoting his words across social media as another iconic addition to the night. Jimin, hearing that, playfully shrugged as if to say, "Maybe I already did." Honestly, he wasn't wrong, because by this point the entire arena had transformed into something beyond a concert. It felt like a shared inside joke between artist and audience, something spontaneous that no script could ever recreate. But what made it even more unforgettable was what happened next. The music slowly began to build again, signaling the transition back into the performance. Yet the energy from that interaction didn't disappear, it carried over, amplifying everything that followed. When Jimin started dancing again, there was a new intensity in every movement. Fans cheered louder, watched closer, and reacted stronger, as if they were now part of the performance in a deeper way. Even Jungkook's presence shifted. He seemed more energized, more playful, occasionally glancing toward Jimin with a smile that suggested the moment was still on his mind. Their chemistry on stage became even more dynamic, filled with subtle interactions that fans quickly picked up on. Every step, every look, every shared glance, it all told a story. An army noticed everything. Phones continued recording, but many fans simply chose to live in the moment, singing along, waving their lightsticks, and soaking in an experience that felt impossible to replicate. Because nights like this don't happen often, they can't be planned, they just happen, and when they do, they become part of something bigger. By the time the performance reached its next peak, the earlier moment had already cemented itself as legendary. Fans were still talking about it, still reacting, still trying to fully process what they had witnessed, and outside the venue the world was catching up fast. Clips had gone viral across multiple platforms, reaction videos were flooding timelines. Even people who weren't there began to feel like they had experienced it through the sheer energy of the footage. Jimin didn't just say "Date me," he owned the moment. El Paso Army really won tonight. Jungkook's reaction deserves an award. The narrative was growing with every passing minute, but back inside the venue the night was still unfolding. And as the lights dimmed slightly between songs, Jimin stood once more at center stage, breathing in the atmosphere he had helped create. There was a quiet satisfaction in his expression, like he understood the impact of what had just happened, even if he didn't fully plan it. Jungkook walked past him, lightly nudging his shoulder as he went by, a small gesture but one that didn't go unnoticed. Fans screamed again, because in moments like this, even the smallest interactions feel huge. So now we ask you again, Army, do you think Jimin planned that moment, or was it completely spontaneous? Did Jungkook's reaction make it even more unforgettable, and if this happened in your city? Would you survive it? Drop your answers, share your thoughts, and keep the conversation going, because something tells us this moment is far from over. This isn't just a concert story anymore, it's becoming a legend.